Welcome back, everyone. Some of the many themes of our show includes personal development, professional growth, and overall happiness. Our next guest, Chelsea Krost, is an expert on all of the above. She is a professional development coach, a personal branding expert, and so much more. It's so great having you here, Chelsea.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Chelsea, you have what you call a gatekeeper exercise. What is this, and how is this the key to happiness?
I'm so excited to talk about this exercise because you know what? All of us are searching for happiness, right? That's the goal in life. And a lot of us are constantly in the search for happiness, but don't necessarily realize that we really have the keys to happiness within. And it's so common for us to look for outside forces to spark that happiness, like when I get that new bag, when I get that new car, when I get that promotion, when I get pregnant, whatever, then I'll be happy. But those things could, of course, create happiness and bring joy, but temporary joy if we're not happy on the inside. So the gatekeeper exercise allows us to get in tune with our inner self so that we can create happiness all the time, consistently, and really up-level life.
Okay, let's move through the exercise together and go through the steps.
Okay, so step one is to activate the observer. The observer is our little voice within that is aware of what's happening on the outside, but most aware of what's happening on the inside. I'm sure you all hear that voice chirping all throughout the day, and we can use this voice to our advantage to fuel our happiness and to fuel our professional and personal growth. So many people walk around unhappy, annoyed, frustrated, or depressed, but they don't necessarily know what put them in that mood. And I'm sure you can all relate to this at times. Like, why am I so grouchy? Why am I so irritable, right? This is where the observer comes in. What is triggering that bad mood? This is where you need to activate that observer and start to become aware of what's triggering that depressive feel, that anger, that frustration, that unhappiness. And here are some sample triggers: social media, food, your parent or your partner, your kids, your job, someone being late, someone rejecting you, someone challenging your beliefs, someone lying. These are all very common triggers that we really experience on the day-to-day that we might not realize these triggers are really impacting our mood and our happiness. That's definitely a little segue to step two, which is to activate the gatekeeper. The gatekeeper is really you. You are the gatekeeper of your thoughts, your emotions, and your actions. So the gatekeeper reminds us that we can't always control what's going on the outside. That's just not reality. But what we can do is start to control and regulate our internal response. So once we become aware of what those triggers are, right? Whether it's our job, whether it's our mom, whether it's our kids, whether it's social media, whether it's someone challenging my beliefs, we can then start to go, okay, I am aware of this trigger, and now I am going to choose the action that feels best to me to help me regulate my response, to help me recalibrate and feel regrounded so that it doesn't, I call it doesn't become the thief of my joy and I become in control. So sample actions here are to identify what's fact versus fiction, right? We can kind of create a lot of internal stories a lot of the time, but that doesn't mean the story is necessarily the truth. So if you're on this tangent of, oh my God, I had this conversation with my mom or my partner or my boss, and you're kind of, making up all these stories in your head and the stories are starting to make you feel overwhelmed, just take a moment to go, wait, what's factual about this story and what's possibly fiction that's causing me to get more, overwhelmed and anxiety.
Okay, tell us about the wise one.
Yes. So step three is to activate the wise one. The wise one helps you to reframe your triggered response, right? So what does that mean? Reframing means, okay, instead of allowing this to, get me into overwhelm and maybe go emotional eat or procrastinate or, throw in the towel, how can I reframe this thought so that I could see it from a different perspective? So for example, if you get triggered by social media, right? Scrolling through social media, maybe you start to feel comparisonitis or perfectionism, or your inner critic starting to show up, or self-doubt, or even jealousy, right? Take a moment and say, okay, instead of the trigger thought, social media makes me so depressed about my life, what about social media is really a distortion of reality? I only see the highlight reel of this person's life. I have no idea what's going on behind the scenes, to help diffuse the response you're having to that person's post.
And what about the cheerleader?
Yeah, step 4 is the cheerleader. So you know how you are always the cheerleader for your best friend, right? You're there to support them and encourage them and help them, wipe their tears off in a hard moment. Well, this is how you deserve to support yourself. You need to speak and treat and cheer yourself on. You need to be your own best friend. And you could support yourself with, again, becoming aware of the thoughts, helping to become aware of the actions you could do to help regulate those emotional reactions. And then, of course, practice affirmations, which are positive statements that could help challenge and overcome self-sabotage or negative thinking. And when you repeat those affirmations often, like, I am in control, I am smart, I am beautiful, I am worthy, I am accomplished, right? When you start to repeat those positive affirmations to yourself, you will start to see positive shifts in your mood and in your outcomes. And then practicing gratitude. This helps you feel more positive emotions. It's proven to even improve your health, deal with adversity, and build stronger relationships.
Thank you so much, Chelsea.
Thank you so much. And just remember, you are the gatekeeper to your joy.
Back to you, Stephanie.
Thanks so much, Dr. D, and great info, Chelsea.